Back to Glorious Creations. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to make the blue shimmer. I asked you guys what you wanted to see me make for my first 500 subscribers, and this was the most popular vote. So thank you so very much, guys. I appreciate you more than you could possibly know. So I'm going to show you how I made these using some very simple ingredients. First thing that you're going to need is a stencil. Now, the stencil that I used for this one, I got on Amazon. And I looked for it today. I couldn't find one like it. So I went by Hobby Lobby and I picked this guy up. And it's similar. It's not quite the same. Got it in the stamp aisle. So it's close to what I have going on with this other one. It's not quite as swirly, but it's close. I wanted to be able to show you a stencil that I knew you could get your hands on. I didn't want to show you how I made it with a stencil that was no longer available. And because I couldn't find it on Amazon, that's why I chose this one. Okay, you're going to need clay. I have about this much out. You choose to use however much, but I'm just going to work with a small amount. These are the cutters that I'm using today. At the end, we'll need some rhinestones of your choice of color, again, from Amazon. The most important thing that we are going to be using today is our mica powders. I have Tekrazu Chameleon Powder in blue, cyan, and purple, green, gold, and red, brown, red, violet, and blue, and indigo, violet, red, and yellow. And I have just a little black pearl mica powder. I took my mica powders and I just took my cutter and I marked out numbers on here. And then each one of them, I took a little bit of the powder and I put on here. So see, like this one is number 5. And then I numbered the backs of my jars so I know what the color looks like on black, because it looks very different on black than it does on white. So I wanted to have a reference so that when I was going to work on something, I could quickly look at this and know, hey, this is what I want to make. I've rolled out the clay to a tile. I know this isn't the same stencil, and I apologize for that. But like I said, I want you to have something that you can work with, that you can easily attain. So I'm going to peel one of these off, and I'm going to take it. Oh, by the way, this was rolled out onto a number 3 on my pasta machine, okay? So I'm going to take the stencil, and I don't like this part of the leaf right here, but I do like the swirly part. So I'm going to lay it on here, and you know what? At a little acrylic block. This one I left the plastic coating on it, and I'm just going to use this to press in here. And I didn't get really deep, but so let's try again. Let's use our fingers this time and see what we get. I don't want to press hard enough to move it, but I want to press hard enough that I get a good indentation. That's a little bit better. Okay, so let's try this again in a different spot. Again, I don't want that leaf. I want the swirl. And I'm trying to do this so that my tile doesn't tap too much on the glass. And let's take a smaller one. And you can see what it looks like because of the black outline on the stencil page. And we're going to overlap a little bit over here. I'm going to keep that finger there as I press down, so it stays in the same spot and doesn't slide on me. That's better. Let's go over here. Let's bring one in this way. And let's see. That one's kind of cool looking. They're all interesting looking, but this one has a little bit more leaves than the other one that I used. So I feel really bad about that, guys. And it may be out there somewhere, available on Amazon still, but I couldn't find it. And like I said, I don't want to show you something that you can't easily get your hands on. So there are so many stencil options. You can find so many pretty patterns that you could use. Any will work that you like, as long as it has some fun, interesting lines and designs in it. Let's see. I think I'm going to go back to this guy again for this end part right here. And I know I already did this part, but I'm going to come back into it and press into it again. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to move these out of our way and start the fun part. You want to use a paintbrush. Now, I'm going to open these and I'm going to set the lids in front of each one of them, and I'm going to do my best not to spill them. I spilled this one earlier, made a big old mess. I'm going to try and not do that again. It's not fun to clean up mica powder. We're going to start with this blue. I'm going to take it and I'm going to tap it off into the lid of it. When I do this, I'm just going to be stippling down onto the clay and just kind of pouncing in different locations. And I can come back over here, get a little bit more powder, and dip it off into the lid. Going into random spots, but not covering the whole surface. And then I'm going to take this color, which is the brown, red, violet, and blue, but because I'm putting it on black, it gives me more of that violet and blue color. If you were to put it on a lighter color is when you would get the browns and the reds showing up. That's what is so cool about the chameleon powders. Let's take some of this guy. Give us a little bit of brightness in there. It's indigo, violet, red, and yellow. So that's where you get those cool effects and colors. Break up that blue a little bit. I'm not applying really heavy coats. Just light little taps. Now, this one is really intense, this green, gold, and red. So not only am I going to tap it off on here, but I have a towel over here on the side. I'm going to tap it off on my towel just a little bit and just use a little itty bitty tiny tap because I want just a little tiny bit of that brightness, but I don't want a ton of it. You can go and blow some of it off with your brush. See, like that hit was a little bit too hard. So you can always take a little bit of the black mica powder, very gently with the black as well, and kind of go back over a spot if you don't like it, if it's too intense. Come back over it with another color and kind of blend them together. And then just play with your mica powders. Find spots that you haven't already filled in and just continue until your surface is all the way filled in. You can use any colors that you want. This is entirely up to you. This is your project. Make it how you want it to look. This one has like an icy, almost a silvery blue look to it. I need some more blue up here. It's a little too purplish. And I think I'm going to do just a little tiny bit of black. A little bit too much on there. Dab that off on my towel. And a little bit more of this guy over here. Quick, easy, simple. Very good for a beginner. Okay. I'm gonna put these lids back on. These are the cutters I'm using. You've seen me use this one before. If you use this combination of cutter, this is the size hole that you will get in the middle. If you use this combination, oops, come here. You use this combination, this is the size hole that you will get in the middle. Okay, so just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. Come here, you, with that in between there or in there. So you have more open space in here, but on here, doing this one, you get more of your stencil and your mica. Now we're going to find a spot that we like. And when we're looking through here, we want to look along the edges of this stencil, because as I just showed you, the middle piece is going to be cut out. Like right here is a good spot because there's a lot going on. And that's kind of a good spot too. Sorry, the camera's in my face. It's kind of hard for me to see. I actually think I like it there. But then I'm going to gently set this guy on here and see if I can get it in the center. I'm just setting it on here without applying any pressure because we don't want to mess up the stencil. You know, it's still going to be what it's going to be. I'm going to use the block and I'm going to press down firmly. Now, because I have this little guy, it's perfect to make an earring. So I'm going to come over here and then clear from this line all right over here. And I'll make another cut right there. Now, the other thing that you can do is you can always take this piece and flip it around. Whoops. And I'm not going to be able to get another piece out with this cutter. I also have this size, which is just a little bit larger. And they've lost their top rims. I have butterfingers today. I apologize. I don't know why I keep dropping things. So you can do this again with this one and a smaller one, but you're really not going to get very much impact. So let's try a different shape. How about an oval? There's some interest there. Go with that one. And how about here? Yeah, I like that. Okay. Almost. Not quite. This is the tile that I'm directly going to bake these on. Always follow the package directions from whichever type of clay you're using. I'm going to try and clean them up just a little bit now. Go around the edges because I don't want to sand these. With this type of a technique, you definitely have to resin them. So very carefully, just take your time, go around the edges. You can always use your finger as well. Okay. takes just a little bit more time now. I see a little spot right here. I was thinking before I stuck these in the oven, since I have this little bit of scrap right here, you can always just take a piece like this, now that it has the mica on it, and just keep mixing it together, and you'll end up getting the mica powder inside your clay, and it'll give you a completely different effect as well. So here, let me just roll it out real quick for you. So you see it starts to get the shimmer on the inside, and the more mica powder you add to it, the more shimmer it'll get. And you'll just have to sit there and keep working with it and keep mixing it up. And you can kind of create your own pearlescent shimmery clay if you don't have any, by throwing a little bit of mica powder into it. So there's just another idea for you, something that you can play with if you haven't done so already. And it does get a little bit tough sometimes, and the mica will resist, especially when you just take some and dump it on there. But just another thought for you. After it's more mixed in, it looks like that. And because there's not a ton in here, you're not going to see that much, but you can just keep adding more. And I'll be back in a minute. And since we were talking about the mica and the clay, I thought I'd show you just a little bit more how intense you can get it. Just the blue cyan purple on here. And I'm still going to spill that if I'm not careful. Use the clay to kind of mop up our work surface a little bit, which is good if you're working on glass or a tile. You can do that. Okay. It's pretty, huh? And they're out of the oven. They look absolutely fantastic. Look at all the color. Sparkle in there. Love how they turned out. They're so cute and pretty. Oops, didn't mean to drop that. And if you're new to polymer clay, and it's like one of the first times you baked it, and it's bendable, and you're like, wait, what? Did I do something wrong? No, it's supposed to be bendable. Okay. I mean, you don't want to take it like bend really hard and snap it or whatever, but yes, it is supposed to be malleable. Okay, so I'm going to take a tile, and I'm going to resin this for you. Normally, I would think about resining the back first, but because I have the mica on here and I don't want the tape to pull any of that off, I'm going to do the front first. This is not an even surface all the way, so you've got to be really careful not to let it run off in any of those deeper spots. So I'm going to do my edge around both parts. It's just a little bit more awkward. Just takes a little bit more time, but we got this, guys. I'm almost out of resin. I'm going to need to get some more. Okay, so let's start here in the middle. Make sure you've got it all the way to the edge. And then work this outside edge. Turn the piece as I go, makes it a little bit easier for me. Okay, now bring these pieces of resin together in the center. The resin is self-leveling. I know I've said that before. It will come together nicely. Let's see, I think I'm going to need a little bit more over here. Because I've got a high spot right there and a little bit of a low spot right here in that deeper channel. So let's put just a little tiny bit more right here, a little bit more right there. Give that a chance to fill in. You can always put a thinner coat on and come back in and put another thinner coat on as well. And this spot right here needs a little filling in. There's an air bubble. Okay. And I bring it up to eye level, look at it with the light. We can check to see how all the spots look. But isn't that pretty once you put that resin on there, how you can see those purples and those blues just really start to show up. I think I need just a little bit more right here, but I'm just going to do it really slowly. Yep, that drop was actually probably a little bit more than I wanted. So I'll just work it down here a little bit. It's a little bit higher right here from where we pushed into the clay. The spot that went down in the valley, it created a higher ridge. Okay, and then go stick this under the UV light. I'll be right back. I am fairly happy with how this first coat went on. When I run my finger across the top, it's smooth, except for right here along this edge. Right here, there's a little tiny spot. I don't know if you can see it or not, where it didn't quite completely fill in. A little bit right over here. I don't want to put a thick layer on. Very thin coat. I'm going to go around the edge again. This might not be enough, but I'm going to see what I can do with it. Because I don't want to make this too thick. There's a little spot right there. Okay, a little spot right here. A lot of times, to help me, you'll see, I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but do you see how there's that little tiny circle right there? The light, the reflection. So I know I need a little bit more over here. And I'll just spread it out. Torch. And just run a quick flame across the top to pop any air bubbles. I'm thrilled with how this is turning out so far. I have my rhinestone and I've added it to an 8mm jump ring. Set that right here for now. This is the piece that we're going to put it on. And we want it to hang about in the middle, right? So you can kind of measure where it's going to sit, to give you a rough idea of where you want to cut. Not cut, sorry. Drill your hole. Okay. I have this little pin drill. I'm going to center this right here. And I'm going to go up just a little bit. Now, I'm going to spin slowly down into the resin, but I'm not going to go all the way through. See how you can just see it start right there? I'm going to slide this back out And now I'm going to go through on this side so that it doesn't poke into the resin. Because sometimes when it pokes into the resin on one of the sides, it'll create like a little pocket, and it might want to make the resin lift up from your clay, at least in my experience. So I tend to try and go slow, take my time, and then I go back and forth each direction. If you'd like to enlarge your hole, these come in different sizes, and you can use a larger one to make your hole bigger. So you just untwist this, slide this in the little hole right here to the position that you want, and then twist it back and lock it in place. Make sure your rhinestone's facing the right direction until you're happy with it. I'll grab a hold of it with a pair of my pliers. And almost bring it closed. There we go. And then just line it up. And give it a little squeeze. And that's how you do that. Here's the earrings. I put some glitter on the back. And then this guy. The resin. And what they look like without the resin. It's quick, it's simple way to make impact with jewelry. Several of my friends wear these pieces and they get tons of compliments on them. I get compliments whenever I wear mine. I will put these up on my Etsy page if you are interested in purchasing them, as opposed to making them yourself. But either way, I hope you have a glorious day. Thank you so much for spending your time with me. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.